Hello everyone, my name is Sheila May J. Danyuan. So I will be your teacher for this day. So good day everyone. I hope you are all ready to listen and learn new knowledge for today's discussion. So I hope you are settled and your pen and paper is ready to take down those important details that we're about to discuss for today. Welcome to your oral communication in context subject. So today we're going to focus on the elements of communication. So, on the previous discussion, you have already defined what is communication is all about in its different features. So, now okay. So, before we finally um, start our discussion, allow me first to present to you our objective for today. So at the end of the period, yes, at the end of our discussion for today, you are expected to define the meaning of communication. You differentiate the various elements of communication, application of knowledge by completing the given activity, and last one, appreciate the lesson for today. So with that, you were expected to listen and take down notes the important details of our topic for today. And you are also expected to participate the different activities that we're about to do for this day. So we have here an activity, preparatory activity that is prepared for you. So this activity is entitled Search Me. So yes, you're going to search different words that you will find inside this box. So your answers, you may put it in your subject notebook or in a clean sheet of paper. So later on, we will check if your answers or your um, the words that you search in here or you have seen in here is correct. Okay, so we'll be giving you exactly 2 minutes to complete this activity. Later on, we will check your answers. So your 2 minutes is already over. So let's now check if you have got the words that is inside this box. So check your own paper, or yes, if you have got these words correct. So we have here communist, message, unavoidable, feedback, sender, Latin word, message, communication, channel, listener, and verbal. So that's the words that is inside the box. Okay, very good. Okay, so these words we will encounter this in our discussion. Okay, so very good, everyone. Okay, so with that, we will now begin our discussion by defining communication. So what is communication? Communication is from the Latin word communis, which means common. So it is the process of creating and exchanging meanings through symbolic interaction. So communication is continuous. Why? Because it continues to impact and influence future interactions and shapes our relationship. Okay, so it is the process of transmitting information and common understanding from one person to another, which is according to Caton, year 2011. Okay, so with that, communication is unavoidable because it is unavoidable. Why or how? Because like for example, when we meet our friend, we cannot say or we cannot we cannot avoid to chat with them or or to simply hi with them, and with that simply hi, communication is now starting. That's why communication is unavoidable. Okay, so it is a process of transmitting information and common understanding from one person to another. Okay, and also um, wherever we go or wherever we go, whatever place we are um, about to go or we have gone, we can we cannot stop or avoid communicating other people in that certain place. Why? Because sometimes we ask question or we tend to or we want to know about them. That's what makes communication and avoid. So I guess the definition or what is a communication has already um, refreshed on your mind. So with that, let's formally move on to the central or the main idea of our discussion for today, which is elements of communication. Okay, so let's have the first one. So our first one is the sender. So the sender is the initiator of communication. Why? Because they are the one who convert their thought into a message or observable signals such as words. And yes, they are the someone. Yes, they're someone who encodes and sends a message to receiver through a particular channel. Okay, so let's say, for example, when you think about how you craft your speech, you're actually already now encoding your message, or when you are thinking of what you wanted to say to your friends, or you wanted to say to your friends, you are already thinking um, how will you encode that into a message, or or how will you going to message them. So sender is the one who divides the symbols into chunk that are decipherable by the receiver. Okay, so let's move on to the second one. So we have here the listener or the receiver. So the receiver is the receiver of the message, which is encoded by the sender. So they are the one who hear the signals and convert them, the symbols into their thoughts. So AKA they are the decoder, decipher, and the interpreter of the message. Okay, so listener or the receiver is the person who gets the message and tries to understand what the sender actually wants to convey and then responds accordingly. Okay, so they are the. Okay, so let's move on to the third one. So we have here the third one, which is the message. So the message is the topic or the idea within the communication. So it is the topic. So what are you talking about? So it is the message. So speaking the same language and the same level of language proficiency makes the communication more effective or more interactive. Ideas or thoughts that are transmitted from sender to receiver. Okay. So message is the correct interpretation by the receiver of the symbols is greatly affected by the similarity between the culture and experiences of the sender and receiver. That is why when the sender and the receiver speaks the same language, um, the level of language proficiency is higher. Why? Because they understand each other. That's why the exchange of message or the exchange of communication is consistent. Okay, so let's move on to the fourth one, so which is the verbal and non-verbal symbols. So when we say symbols, these are now what they use to communicate. So in here, we will be having the verbal and non-verbal way or symbols of communicating. So symbols do not have meaning in themselves. Why? Because we as um, the actor, yes, or the one who is communicating to yes, communicating, we are the one who put the action into symbols, or yes, into blank symbols. We put meaning into these symbols. So symbols may be verbal or non-verbal. So when we say verbal, it is spoken. So when non-verbal, it is not. So we have here the in non-verbal, we have the written, those kinds, sign language also. Okay, so spoken words, printed words, sign language. Let's move on to the fifth one. So we have already the channel. So channel is already the medium of communication. So what is medium that is used? Okay, so we have the medium. So we have a lot of different medium. We have internet, we have text messages, or we have our person, or our um, personal, yeah, when we talk to the people, to the people personally. So we have our voice. So a message is sent via the census, which is according to Flores year 2016. The quality of it depends on how free it is of noise. So because sometimes when we send a message, it is affected by its environment. Like for example, if you talk to your friend and your environment or the people surrounds you, or the yes, your environment is noisy, the efficacy of communication is low. Why? Because there are times, or there are times that you don't understand what your friend, or what the people who is talking to you is saying, or vice versa. Your listener don't understand what you are saying. In continuation of channels, so we will learn already what are the different factors that affect our channel with this one. So we have here the number six, which is noise. This noise is according to Alphelor of year 2016. So we have already the physical noise, yes, which has something to do with the affecting or disturbing our channel. So they are more likely to um, distract the channel sometimes. So when we say physical noise, these are the noise around you. So these are the noise are in your environment. Like for example, the noise your neighbors, if they are so if they shouts or screams sometimes, or even or sometimes if your house is along the road, so the vehicle passing through your house is noisy, which affects now your communication. to the other people. So we have here the second one, psychological noise. So what do we mean? So what do you mean by psychological? So it consists already of the distractions to a speaker's message causes the receiver thought. So for example, if you um if you are preoccupied, if you are thinking something, the person let's say you have personal problem, difficulty, um it is difficult to give your full attention to understand the message. So you're having also to difficult times in understanding the meaning of the message. So let's do the third one, physiological. So physiological is the distraction to a speaker's message caused by listener's own body. So, like for example, maybe let's say you have attended a afternoon speech. So in that time, so around that noon, you haven't eaten anything, so your stomach are empty. That's why you're having also a hard time to digest or to intake the information. So, and yes, the messages and the messages that the speaker is delivering. So we have here the semantic noise. So when we say semantic noise, it refers now to when a speaker and the listener have different interpretation. Like for example, that we have the um, word weed, weed, weed. So this can be interpreted as the undesirable plant that grows in your yard. So they are the and for how for others, weed is the euphemism for marijuana or the illegal leaves. Okay, so with that, let's now move on to the last element of communication. So we have here the seventh one. So we have feedback. So feedback enables the sender to codify his thoughts to correct the ideas themselves. Very important in producing understanding, yes. Because we can see here already to the um, codified response of the receiver coming back to the sender of if the receiver have really understand the message of the sender when it is consistent. So how will we say if it is consistent when it is still support or connected to the idea that the sender have sent to the receiver. So in here also to the feedback, we can see if the communication of if their communication is consistent, if they have really understand each other when if they uh, if the feedback is connected or consistent to the sender's message. And with that, we have again the um, we have talked about communication, the meaning of communication, and the seven elements of communication. So again, the seven elements of the communication is we have the first one, we have very good. We have the sender. So the second one, we have a listener. Okay, so fourth one, we have the message or the topic in the communication. So the fourth one, we have the, yes, very good, the verbal and non-verbal. So these are now has something to do with the written and or oral way of communicating. And then the fifth one, we have the channel. Okay, so very good. So we have number 6. We have mm-hmm, mm-hmm, uh-uh. What's again the sixth? The sixth is the sixth is the noise that is now affecting the also the communication, the quality of communication. So we have, and the last one, we have the feedback or the codified response of the receiver. Okay, so very good. So with that, I guess you're all ready to our activity since you are actively since you don't have already questions. Anyway, so you have question or everything is clear? So everything is clear? Very good. Okay, so it's already activity time. So are you ready? Oh, I guess you're already since you were you don't have already you don't have questions. So okay, so for our instruction, any clean sheet of paper, any paper can do. It's you can use long or short band paper or any clean paper. So you will be making your own process of communication model. Okay, so use the different elements of communication that has been discussed. Make your work as creative and unique. It will be passed in the end of this day. So yes, you're going to create and design your own model of communication using the different elements of communication that we have discussed. So like for example, okay, so let's do an okay. So we have the first one. Okay, may I call on? Mm-hmm. So for our first question, so what is communication? Anyone can answer. Very good. It is the process of creating and exchanging meaning through symbolic interaction. Very good. So for the second, communication is derived from the word where where what word did communication has came from? Very good. It is from the Latin word communis, which means common. So for the third one, how many elements of communication that we have discussed? So how many elements of communication that we have discussed in this day? Very good. There are 7 elements of communication. Again, what are these 7 elements? We have, we have the sender. Very good. Who is the sender? The sender who starts the conversation. And the next one, we have very good. Message. So the message is the thought or the main idea or the main topic that they are transmitted by the sender to the receiver. Okay, so we have also the third one. What is it? The listener. So again, the listener is the one who receives the message and who the one who decodes a message. Going back to the sender. Okay, so we have also the fourth one, which is, yes, very good, the verbal and non-verbal symbols. So it is the spoken words or the written words that is used, or any symbols that is used in communicating or in communication. So we have the fifth one. What are the fifth one? So very good. It is channel. So channel is the medium through which, yes, the message is sent. So we have also the sixth one, the noise. Very good. So noise are the barriers of distraction, or the distractions on in communicating or in communication. So we have the last one, which is the very good. The feedback. So it is the response of the receiver to the sender, or the decoded message of the receiver going back to the sender. Very good. So we have also the question. Can you enumerate what are these? So it's time for your evaluation. So let's see if you really listen to me or to our discussion. Okay, so we'll be having a true or false. Um, so when it you're going to will be I'll be presenting you statements. So if your answers are true, you can uh, write just true. But if your answers are false, pick the word that makes the statement um, error. Okay, so let's start. We have here physical noise affects the quality of communication. So what do you think? This is true or false? Very good. I can hear that your answer, but let's if your answers are correct. So the answer is true. Very good. Almost all of you have answered true, meaning you are all listening. So how about the oh, sorry, for that. So channel is the barrier through which the message is sent, which is false. Because what makes it false? The barrier. Supposedly, channel is the medium through which the message is sent. Okay, so it is number 3. Listeners are the ones who sends a message. What do you think? Your answers? I can see that your answers were almost all of you have answered false. So, you're correct. So, instead of listeners, it should be the sender, because the sender are the ones who sends a message. We have here the fourth one. Message is the ideas and thoughts that are transmitted from sender to receiver. So let's see your answers. Message is the ideas and thoughts that are transmitted from sender to receiver. I can see that almost all of you have answered true. Your Okay, so let's continue. So 5. So let's see. Communication came from the Greek word. So what do you think? Does it come from the Greek word? Yes. Let's see if your false answer is correct. So it is from the Latin word. So let's see. Okay, you're correct. So the answer is false. It should be the Greek, supposedly Latin. Okay, communication is avoidable. So what do you think? Almost half of you said false, and half of you said True. I've answered true. So let's see. So it is false. It should be the avoidable should be unavoidable. So because anywhere we go, we cannot avoid communication. So we tend to ask question and know some. We wanted sometimes to know something. That's why we communicate. Okay, so it's true. Okay, so the sender divides the symbols into chunks, which is true. So number 8, feedback are very important in producing understanding. So what do you think? Very good. Let's see if your true and false answers were correct. So it is true. Very good, everyone. Almost all of you know or have correct answers. Okay, so I think you are enjoying. Okay, so is everything clear? Very good. So yes. Again, so communication it is continuous. Um, because everywhere we go or so I guess this is where we are ending. So thank you everyone. Thank you for your listening. Thank you for listening. And I hope you have learned a lot for today. And if you have still question like what I have said, you may still chat me or send me a private message if you want to additional examples or if you get if you are confused on the activity for today. So again, the activity will be sent at the end of or will be you can pass our activity in the end of this day. Okay, so thank you everyone. Have a blessed day ahead.